Welcome back, chums. And we're going to fly the second leg of day 6, the day from hell, when we were in the air for about 7.5 hours and had to relight the motor not long after starting on the 4th leg of it. It was a day where the task was set rather optimistically. And as we set off, it was obvious there was an inversion at maybe about 3,000 feet or something like that. And it was considerably blue, so there wasn't going to be much cumulus as we went out east towards Higham to actually kind of, guide us with thermals and things. I was flying with Chris Gill in the back seat, and it was hard work just getting out east. Climbs didn't really take us beyond about 2,500 feet, I think, in the main, maybe 3,000 feet occasionally. So then we rounded Higham, going slow, headed back to Northampton West, which is the leg we're going to do now. And as we got towards Northampton West, perhaps partly generated by the town and things and stuff, the sky was really quite good. And we were able to take a good climb to a much higher sort of level and then set off back to the east. But it was late afternoon by then, and we had to go back to Ely, and it was pretty daunting because it just looked like an inevitable landout. And indeed, I saw lots of gliders landed out in fields. Chris said we were only doing about 50 kph average, which is pretty crap. And all I could say to him was, well, there's gliders in fields all over the place, so you might be doing better than you think. And sure enough, he ended up winning the day, to cut a long story short, but I'll save that for when we fly the other 2 legs. I do recall, though, that he actually found a thermal for all the 18-meter guys just out of Ely, or just before Ely, and one of which was Andy Davis, and they could get onto final glide and get home. But being in a heavy DG 1000M or 1001, I can never remember which it is, we had to settle for lighting the engine after a final very weak thermal of about half a knot and being about 800 feet over terrain. So no pressure there. Okay, anyway, let's hope this will all record and work properly. And the sounds, I had a lot of issues yesterday. I actually flew this task yesterday and found that although it recorded my cockpit voice, it hadn't recorded the vari information or anything like that, which makes a nonsense of your voiceover because you're talking all the time about your climbs and what you're doing and the various stuff like that. So a bit irritating, but when you haven't done it for a while and the technology, you've got to get all the audio outputs right and the screen capture right and God knows what else. So that everything all lines up. I think I've got this right. I hope I'm not about to fly the task again and find that the recording is no good. What can you do? But I would like to get all 4 parts of day 6 done, and this is the second part. It's about 107k. The conditions we're looking out at here are, to be honest, they're rather better. Well, a lot better than they were on the day. And although I have tried to set the conditions a bit like it, I'm not going to change them. I mean, I think the thermals are actually set to strong. They probably weren't strong on the day. They were more like moderate. And there wasn't nearly as much cloud to mark things. So I think what we'll do is we'll see if we can race along with this. And if I can race along, get it done quickly, it won't take up too much of my time, too much of your viewing time. And it just means I've got part 2 of this set done. Part 1 is already recorded, but I don't think I'll put them out until I've got all 4 parts down. Otherwise, there's no continuity. So, right, just lift the visor slightly and off we will go. And our start height is 3,000 feet. So I think that's probably what I got from the IGC file of the real flight as being the height we were at when we turned that turning point. So, that would suggest in that case we were capable of getting to 3,000 feet at points. But I might have been a bit generous to myself on that. Who knows? Right, okay, here we go. Starting in, here we go, off we go. Right. Started. So task has started. Okay, so all right, so it's got the task started. Well, in that case, I think I have to press the button here. Yep, okay. And now you can see on the LX nav it's giving me a line to where I need to go. Now, I've been flown for several months. I've completely forgotten now. I've set up all the buttons and things. So right, so nice big blue gap to get across then. No pressure. As we bump into some lift. I think the other thing I haven't done, just looking around, is I haven't put a second pilot in the cockpit, so that's not really quite realistic. We should have had two in the cockpit, and I'm not sure what I've done for water ballast either, but I'm really not going to worry about that. Let's just fly the route and get it done. It'll make it easier for me as well. It'll climb quicker. I won't be as fast, but the real day wasn't about speed anyway. It was just about surviving. So off we go, and I'm going to try and fly fairly fast anyway, and if I land out, well, I just won't be putting any of this on YouTube, I'll just bin it, but I just don't want to stay here all night doing this task, so let's try and get it done quickly. Or go broke, go bust. So when I flew it yesterday, there's a little puff there, but it's too far off track, so I'm not going to go for that. When I flew it yesterday, one of the features of this sky seemed to be that I would bump into lift where there was virtually no cloud, and I pulled up and used it, and it was good lift, and a cloud soon developed above it. So clearly the sky is one where there's lift setting up when there isn't a cloud to mark it. So we're already getting quite low here. I remember Chris Gill described when he gave his little speech the morning after when he got his prize for coming first. He said, you know, we were struggling to get to like 2,500 feet and always felt like we were leaving too early. He said, I've never felt happy at 2,500 feet before, but I did yesterday, as though that was about as good as it got, you know. So anyway, we're going to have to see how we get on here, because we've got to make it across to that first cloud. I'm not going to go too fast, because that really probably will push my luck. But I did manage yesterday to connect with lift quite low down, because Condor can be a bit picky about finding thermals once you've got a bit low. So we will just hope that the same thing happens today, and we can get a good climb and get moving. I'm also suffering from a very bad back, so which is a bit better than yesterday. Yesterday I was moaning quite a lot about trying to sort of do this task with my back. My back's a little bit better today, and anyway, one of the few things I can do with this back is to sit in a chair and do something, so why not fly a bit of virtual reality gliding? Right, so we're under 2,000 feet, boldly going where you'd be cautious about going before, but towards the end of the real flight in 2018, you know, on the end of the third leg, we were taking climbs that were only like half a knot to a knot, and we were often taking for about 800 feet or something like that. So it was a day of actually ending up being rather low. So at least we've got a couple of clouds here. Hopefully one or other of them will save us. We're going west and the wind is from the east, I think. Yeah, 075 at 8 knots, by the look of it. See how good this one is. The second cloud looks the better one, but beggars can't be choosing 1,600 feet, so I think we'll just turn into this and see how we get on. And yesterday I was taking cloud climbs as well. The lift was going into the cloud, and with the cloud base only being at about 3,000 feet, or a bit higher perhaps, I wanted to get on fast with the task. I took all I could get, really. And I might do the same here. And it was quite good trying to practice the artificial horizon, because I haven't flown at all for a few months. And it's a bit tricky on the sim anyway, because the joystick doesn't sort of center like a real one. Nothing's quite like a real plane. So it's quite good to have a go at flying on the instruments. And they got quite interesting because I was just paying a bit of attention to the flying here. I was going into cloud, coming up the side of cloud, and if I was lined up with several clouds, I kind of ended up going straight into the side of the next cloud. So I had to spend quite a lot of time in the artificial horizon, even flying in a straight line. Watch your speed a bit more. I'm letting the speed go a bit faster than it needs to be.
2.
Turn in again. Try and get into the better left again. Pretty nice climbs, really. I don't think the climbs were this good on the actual day, but hey ho. Cloud seems to be breaking up above me, but the lift is still pretty good. So we'll stick with it for now. And we're still only at 2,700 or so we could use the climb. What I might do is transfer to the next cloud in a second, because this one's breaking up. See if I can finish off my climb there. Yeah, let's go with this cloud, shall we? See if it's any better. Seems to be more of it left, but we should find out in a second. And there's plenty of clouds up ahead, so we shouldn't be too timid. I'm going to go around to the left this time, just because yesterday I was turning to the right all the time, and I think I need to practice turning in both directions just to keep my hand on it, really. I was saying when I was flying yesterday that this is a habit that partly got going, because years ago I used to have a share in a K6ER, and no, not particularly good here. Let's get this sorted out. And this cloud isn't really any better than the last one, I don't think, is it? And that had an air brake lever on the left on a narrow cockpit, which made circling to the left rather kind of awkward, because you couldn't get your joystick over to the left properly when you needed to. So I tended to kind of circle to the right. And the habit kind of stuck, I think. I mean, you can just always circle to the right if you just choose your entries under what you think is the lift in the right way, but let's move on. Sort of cloud here as well, isn't there? So let's just go slowly while we're flying through all this left. Just waffling, essing under it a little bit as well to extend my stay under it, but quite good stuff for a straight line, really. Right, so I think we'll sort of push on. So yeah, so that's why I ended up getting a bit of a habit for turning right, I think. I try and force myself to turn left, so I don't get too stuck on the habit. Let's push on like a move along at 18 knots, shall we? I haven't set my McCready and I can't remember how to set it on the keyboard. I'm not going to bother with it for now, I'm just going to do it by feel, really. Good for 80 knots. We're unballasted and only one up, so but you know, I quite like flying by the seat of my pants, really, because I never really did any McCready flying in the LK6ER. I just basically went by general feel. Oh, you see, look, here we go. What's this about? Let's just pop around in this just for the hell of it. Let's investigate it. Just what is it? Can we go back and find it? Fool's gold. Might have been fool's gold. I think it was. There's something around here, isn't there? There it is. There it is. Nothing above us at the moment. But let's see whether a cloud appears. Have a bit of fun here. Get centered better.
0.6.
Right, we'll just concentrate on the centering and the horizon and the flying the right speed, and in a bit we'll look up and see whether we've got a cloud above us, because there wasn't one. There still isn't one.
1.8.
Mysteries of the sky, according to Condor. But, you know, it's a good enough climb. I'm starting to see a bit of a cloud up here, I'm not so sure. It's not above us, whatever it is. And it's good lift, isn't it, you know? I'm still trying to centre in the best of it, but... There's still no cloud above us. Is this the dry air mass or something, so that... Oh look, it's going hazy around us. The cloud is actually forming around us. We're actually above the cloud base of the cloud that Condor is forming. How funny. It's really funny. Still, it gives us a chance to use it without being on the artificial horizon. It's a nice climb. It was worth taking a risk on that, wasn't it? Wow, look at this. It's a cracker. It's averaging out at about sort of meters per second down there, isn't it? So it's probably about sort of 5 knots on the average, or is it something like that maybe? And I'm not being as diligent as I could at even centering in the very best of it either, but I must be doing, I'm being reasonably okay, I think. Let's continue taking it up. This is not at all like the real day. We never got to 4,000 around this part of the world on the real day. Looks as though it could be starting to peter out, couldn't it, now in the cloud? But yeah, it's starting to peter out now, but still it's given us some height. So I don't think we'll dick around. Yeah, there's the cloud now, and we'll just crack on. Now, is there a bit of a cloud ahead of us before this main look? This sort of like cotton woolly stuff. Let's just go for it and explore it just in case. I'm going to 90 knots now. I want to crack on with this task and throw away some of this height. I seem to be getting very good climbs, so as long as I keep getting good climbs. I'm not actually trimming the glider for the thermals either. I'm just flying it on backstick, but you can sort of do that a bit with a gaming joystick, because you can sort of brace your hand against the base and things in ways you couldn't do in a real glider. So you can sort of use your hand as the trimmer, as it were. Right, let's go, go. Now I should be 5 degrees off to the right, but I just want to see what this cotton woolly stuff is or does. Probably nothing much, to be honest, but you never know. Funny kind of a day up here today. Yeah, it seems to be kind of disappearing like Scotch mist, isn't it? And I'm starting to pass up opportunities for other things as well, so let us not do that any longer. Get ourselves more in line for where we want to go. Oops, pardon me. This is one of the things that with this joystick, it's very hard to actually stay absolutely on direction, because of the way there's kind of a certain amount of float in the joystick itself, I think. So every time you move it, it ends up going a bit too far, but there we go, I'm not worrying. This is some decaying kind of stuff, isn't it? We're down to 3,000. Should have gone onto that big bugger, I suppose, but hey ho, let's take this big bugger that's a way off. And hopefully one way or another we pick up good stuff. I'm in the mood to actually live a little bit, you know, dangerously. But I think I will head for this cloud. I will head the 3 or 4 degrees to the left. We'll just go for it and see what we get. Faster, perhaps. And if you'll excuse me, I think I probably will circle mainly to the right, because seem to more naturally be able to pull up and get into thermals well, turning to the right. Famous last words. And I hope this is all recorded this time, because I should be mighty teed off if I've done the task a second time and it's not recorded. But at least flying it like this, we should get it done quite quickly. So it won't be like it was on the real day, where each leg was the best part of 2 hours or something. Around the sky if I see any other gliders near me. Not that there will be, of course, but it's a bit of a habit, really. I don't always bother with in Condor, but just a little bit. Okay, let's turn it about here, shall we? Let's try trimming the glider back this time, see if we can get the load off the stick. Nice climb again. Probably about 6 knots on the average. 6.5 knots maybe. Could go into cloud on this one.
2.9.
Now, going into cloud, I'm better to fly between 60 and 50 knots so that if it gets too slow, I don't drop out of the sky. I found that yesterday. So onto the instruments we go. I'm going to start looking at the artificial horizon from now because it's already unreliable, the horizon. And I want to get into practice as soon as possible. And the first thing is to actually just fly the plane properly. And if I can stay in the left, so much the better. That'll be a plus. But let's just try and fly the plane reasonably accurately first. Try not to overbank it too much. Some of that bank off, really. We can always recenter the thermal. Speed getting a bit slow here. Losing the lift. If we can get to 4,000. I think the lift might be dying off these clouds anyway at around this height, so it isn't all just me. Let's get to 4,000 just for the hell of it. Yeah, got to 4,000. We'll finish this turn. Speed getting a bit slow, but we're only 1 up, no ballast, so come on, come around the circle, I'll have a shot. Straighten out. A bit slow there, flying towards the end, so let's trim the glider forward. Get back up to our speed. It's the difficult thing I find, if you're not practicing it, you're not an expert at it, is you've got to watch the airspeed indicator, the artificial horizon, the direction indicator, and or the variometer, but it's just practice, isn't it? And I don't do a lot of it, so I can't expect to be the hottest thing on the planet. Let's crack on now. Let's go to 90 knots, shall we, and get this thing moving. I want to be up here all night. And I'm not sure, but is that at 1 o'clock I can see what looks like a big airfield. There's a bit of a kind of a flashing kind of line going across it. One of the runways probably or something. Or is that, could that be RAE Bedford? I'm not sure. Oh no, we've got Granston Lodge and things over that way. Oh, maybe it's more like Granston Lodge or something. Okay, yeah. Gosh, no, we've not gone nearly as far as I thought we had. Getting ahead of myself here. Yeah, it's like Granston Lodge or Cambridge Airport or something like that, but my geography's not much good at all this. Oh, about 200 knots now. It's the thing, it's a bit difficult to keep an eye on the speed when you're staring right in at this. I'm just not paying much attention, so right, anyway, let's keep cracking on. Perhaps could have gone under that cloud, but no, there's plenty up ahead by the look of it, so we'll just get that speed up a bit. Up ahead, really, which is what I'm doing. Pardon me, that was just me loosening my headset band because it was starting to be uncomfortable. Right, so let's see what we get under this bugger. Maybe we'll turn left onto this one since we slide to the right hand side of it and I need the practice. That assumes we bump into the lift, of course. Trim it back. Okay, turning around now. Bit slow there, airspeed a bit slow, but never mind, we're light. Always be careful. You should look into the turn before you make the turn, but hey ho, we're just in VR and having a bit of fun, so let's not get too thinking. Where it'll get interesting, this one, as well, is if I start to go into cloud and want to use the artificial horizon, because they're I find it that much more difficult when I'm circling to the left, but anyway, let's see how we do.
6.
Climb again. I do love this Condor VR though, it's so like being in a real glide, it really is. I feel like I'm still gliding even though I'm not anymore. I mean, I would love to have got to this kind of level in the real world, but life just didn't, the cards didn't fall that way really for me, so here we go. Right, okay, let's get on the artificial horizon now. Try and stay between 50 and 60 if I can. Give myself that little margin of speed. There we go. The lift is building very strong lift. God, it's over 10 knots. Holy moly, what a climb. Keep my head in the cockpit on the instruments, don't start getting distracted by the ground out there. Oops, speed control, I'm getting distracted by it. Take a bit of bank off. A bit of bank on again. Losing the lift a bit here. the lift. Right, be patient. Take the bank off. Put the bank on again. Don't let the speed get too slow.
7.
Better just settle to, you know, some kind of a climb rate rather than getting too hung up on trying to centre it. We're primarily practicing our cloud flying here, and any lift is a bonus. Right, we're over 4,000 now anyway. We're letting the speed drop off. Get that speed on. Come on. Don't want to lose control in cloud. You need to be ready on the air brakes in case you do, so that you can at least limit the speed gain. And actually, I am not ready on the air brakes, and I ought to be, because if I do cock it up and spin out, that's what I will want to be doing. Speed control's not very good, you can see, but you know, we're surviving. Right, let's well, we might as well finish this circle, I suppose, since we're here already.
1.8.
Bring it round, bring it round. Should have come out on the last turn, but never mind. Still widen the turn a bit if it takes me to more lift. Right, okay, straighten out, straighten out. Watch that speed. I'm not cloud flying as well as I did yesterday, actually. I'm a little bit more ragged, but I settled into it yesterday quite well in the end. Right, let's get the speed on again. Trim it forward. Great sight, isn't it, when you come out of it? Whee! And you find yourself looking right at the side of the next cloud that you're going to go into. So let's get the speed on, because they're want to get on with the job here, not expect it to take too long. Cracking stuff. Cracking stuff, and nothing like, I guess that is Gransden Lodge or Cambridge Airport down there. I'm not sure whether that's one of the same thing. No, I don't think it is it? I think Cambridge Airport's a different thing altogether, but it must be. Is it Cambridge? I've never been to Gransden Lodge anyway, so I don't know any of these places. But Gransden Lodge was the home of the Cambridge Gliding Club. But that doesn't mean to say that there's a big airfield like that. And there is a big Cambridge airfield, and I remember being with Chris Gill and having to talk to them as we kind of went round it. Gosh, we're going super fast here, almost getting underneath the cloud, aren't we? Let's pull up into it, shall we? Take some of the left end up. Stay on that artificial horizon. Okay, roll on now. And then going for that juicy looking one that's right on the nose, really. I'm going to ignore that one that's a bit nearer to us. Going a bit fast, really. Let's get back to 90. Stuff that can crop up in the blue, but whether I'm that bothered at the moment, because the big clouds seem to be quite reliably producing lift on this flight, so until I have reason to be disappointed by them, I think I shall just take them as obvious markers and go for them where I can. underneath the bit with the biggest vertical development. Whether Condor actually simulates some of that accuracy or not, I don't know, but we'll probably turn to the right because I'm sort of approaching slightly to the left of it, I suppose. And there's this bit at the front as well, isn't there? There seems to have a bit of interest, but let's see how we go. See if we can pull up hard and accurately. It'll be interesting to see whether I miss it altogether, whether I miss the core. Quite likely I will when you do this kind of thing. See him coming on. Turning it in. Now, is that grapple water over the nose? It might be. Again, I'm not sure of my geography and all these things, but somewhere in this part of the world, not too far off, I think, is a standout piece of water, and it often used as a turning point by glider pilots, and whether that might be it or not, I don't know. But the map display isn't very good at giving you those kinds of details. It sort of puts lettering, wording on some things, but rarely things that are useful, and the lettering is so small you can't read it until you zoom in and then it goes off the map. Right, I'm not paying full attention to my thermaling here, but it's good enough. So it's nice to have a waffle while I thermal. Let's trim the glider back a bit. Should have done that really. Might be better, yeah. Open up the turn and then reclose it again a bit. Good climbs, aren't they? They're really excellent climbs.
2.8.
Go into cloud again a bit if we want, I suppose. It's quite nice to do a bit of cloud flying, really, just to keep practicing it.
3.1.
My dear old instructor John Gibbons, who passed away not long ago, he made it to nearly 100, but taking me into cloud in a K-13 to try and teach me a bit of cloud flying, but it was all a bit too much for me at the time. But we had a bit of a go. Okay, I've lost the left here a bit, but hopefully that just a little bit.
2.5.
Perhaps turn in again. Lost it a bit. We're over 4,000, so let's not dick around if it doesn't. Let's hopefully that a bit, and then close it in again, and we'll leave on our heading to carry on with the task. And if the lift is good in the cloud, we'll just let's get the nose down. Right, okay. Trim forward. Crack on. Back to 90 knots. Nice big cloud ahead. Now that over the nose, just underneath that cloud, or right, it's beyond it actually, but it looks like it's underneath that cloud. You can just see a kind of a strip that we're almost lined up with, and I think that might be Bedford stroke Cardington. I got 100 knots here, but what the hell? We're making good progress. We've got good height and good cloud ahead. And we want to get the job done so we can all go and have our tea. Yeah, that at 1 o'clock. Could that be grapple water? It just isn't. There it is, that nice bit of water, but they don't give it a name on the map, do they? Now, if I try and zoom in, watch the speed when I'm doing this, which is the zoom in. Oh, hang on, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I could almost read. Yes, Grapham. If I go right in, can you see? Grapham water. Excellent. And St. Neots there. And I'm sorry, the plane's gone all over the place while I'm doing that. It's just impossible when you do that kind of thing to actually fly the plane. But anyway, we nailed it. It's Grapham water. Right, let's get ready for a climb here, I think, maybe. way should we go? Should we go left? I think let's jiggle to the right. See what we get. Oh, I may have missed the lift by arsing around too much. Yeah, we probably missed it. Oh, I think I'm going to have to. Should we? Sorry, that was me arsing about. There should have been an easy climb there because I was sticking around looking at graph and water. And I'm going to live dangerously and just crack on. But I think I better go to this cloud rather than. Let's go to this bugger. So a bit of a silly deviation there, but it takes us over St Neots. We can have a little look there. Very nice. Yeah, all looks a better cloud than that thing there, doesn't it? And a bit more obvious where the lift will be with any luck. And then after that we can wang along. Yeah, I was silly really. I missed a good cloud there because I was too busy trying to identify graph and water and completely paid no attention to my flying. But there we go. Right, now we'd like to actually get a nice climb here and get back on task properly. I've had to deviate a little for this cloud. Lovely view of graph and water as we do it. Trim it back, get centered. Need to get centered a lot better than this. Recentering. What's this going to be like? It's getting better, isn't it? Better. A little bit again. Shouldn't get too obsessed about going into cloud because I mean, the lift with my loss of flying efficiency does drop off quite quickly once I get into cloud. So it's really just for the cloud flying practice rather than because it makes the task go quicker. But at the moment we're all doing all right. But I think the moment I lose it this time, I should immediately say, right, let's get out of here. Turn. Speed is slow.
2.8.
Flying too slow in this cloud really, but we're getting away with it just about. When we come around this time, I think we might leave. Okay, so let's straighten up here. Get the trimmer forward. Going rather slowly. Flying all over the place. I've stopped paying attention to the artificial horizon when I shouldn't have. Sorry, I started looking at other things and I really shouldn't have. Right, anyway, never mind. Let's crack on. right over RAE Bedford. Yesterday I had it on my port side rather, so I was more over that way. But today, because of this deviation of the cloud, let's just head nice under this cloud in case it's good lift as we go under here. Could even pull up underneath it a bit, couldn't we? Oh, and at the end of this leg, at Northampton West, sort of go over Northampton to the far side of it. When I flew it yesterday, of course, there's nowhere to land. I didn't, immediately spot an airfield I could land at, so just landed in a field. I suppose having completed the task, you don't really have to land, do you? You could just sort of quit it there, but I don't know. It feels a bit odd kind of quitting a task when you've not landed, so call me old-fashioned. Final glide. Still got a way to go. Yeah, we're not that high, of course, today, are we? So it's not as though you've got great heights you're working with. Shouldn't get too cocky here because actually we're down to 2.8 and a bit of a gap to the next cloud. Don't wind up landing at Bedford. Is there some lift somewhere around here, maybe? Looks suitably dark, doesn't it? But let's wait and see. Let's pull up in case. Left a little. No, not found anything there. Okay. So let's crack on. Let's do dangerously and crack on with it. Not lose on over the stage. There's good clouds up ahead. I know where we can land if it goes pear-shaped, that's for sure, but I don't want to be doing that. But we'll just slow up a little bit as we go as well, so our sim rate isn't quite so horrendous. I should be hanging about underneath this lot, I tell you what, until I find a good climb, because 2-4 and a bit of a gap to the next clouds out there. Won't be making those, so. And of course, as I say, I do have the RAE Bedford to land at if things go pear-shaped here, so. Well, having said that, of course, I mean, a lot of that looks very disused. You wouldn't want to land on the runways, you've already got to land on the grass or something like that. You're trying to assess it as you get down low, whether you land on the grass or even roll along on the taxiway. Right, let's pay attention to the sky. Not particularly obvious, which is a lifty bit, is it, at the moment? Let's keep moving on till we get a good bit. Nothing very much here, so I'm hoping this darker bit beyond it gives something if this bit doesn't. Hoping this gives something. It could get awkward. It would be funny if the sky suddenly changed and I've been a bit too cocky and it's caught me out. That kind of thing is a classic mistake. So all been a bit too easy so far, isn't it, really? Okay, let's get turning. Even if, oh no, I think it's going to be quite a good climb, but even if it's pretty crappy, we've got to take it in this situation. We can't dick around here. Trim the glider back a bit. Open up the turn attach, see slightly better stuff. Yep, slightly better.
1.9.
In this situation, I'm just pleased to have a good climb. It doesn't need to be the best climb in the world. I'd rather hang on to a good climb than lose it altogether trying to find a better one. I'm not sure, but bottom right there says arrival minus 156 feet, and there could even be meters. I'm not sure. I think there might be meters in that display. But that could be the point at which, once it turns into a positive figure, we start to be on final glide. So that'd be interesting to see. Onto the artificial horizon, go into the cloud a bit, see what we can get. So at some point we start to get nearer to Northampton West, and I've set a weather zone as it was on the actual day, where the cloud base lifts and the climbs get better. Well, I say get better, they're pretty good at the moment, but the cloud base lifts at least. So we should be able to stay out of cloud till something like 4,500 feet or something, I think. So, but we shall see. We shall see.
2.8.
We may not need it so much on this leg, because by the time we get there, we're getting near to landing anyway. So it's quite good at managing to talk when I'm on the artificial horizon. In fact, in some ways it's better, because it stops me from over-focusing on it and getting myself in a state. I'm losing the lift a bit and things, but 4.3. Let's open out a bit, see whether we can find a bit of lift again. No, I think we'll complete the circle and head off. Now, arrival says 345 over the bottom right now. Whether that means we're above final glide by that amount, I don't know, but we'll find out. So, what I was saying now? Oh, yes. So, that good lift around Northampton, we'll probably need more for the third leg, because in real life we'd be going round Northampton West and then heading off to a very unpromising sky, going back out towards Ely. So we'd have really wanted that lift coming out of Northampton West, but coming into it, since I've broken it into sectors, doesn't really matter as long as I'm on final glide. And of course, final glide will be to some height, I think, that I've set. I can't remember how I've set this task, whether I've set it so that the arrival height is whatever the height was on the actual task, which would still have been like 2,000, 2,500 feet or something like that, I don't know. So, whatever it is, yeah, it's not, I can cycle through these screens if I can remember how to do it. Right, yeah, so that's the thermaling screen, 355, 356 on the straight line kind of setting. These are all customized screens on the LX9070. Trouble is I customized them and I can't remember what half of the data is and which screen is really meant for what. But basically, when you start circling, if you watch the LX9070 screen with it goes red at the top, that goes into circling mode and it starts to show you data that you'd want when you're circling. When you come out of circling mode or when you move it to the screen, it shows you information that's more relevant to being on task and wanting to know your destination height and things and stuff. Now that's all right. So it's saying 300, isn't it? And I think it might be in meters this on the LX9070 screen. So if it is, we're 900 feet above final glide. Bit annoying. I really should get to know because I'm not stopping it because I don't need it. Lovely though it is. So yes, I really should get to know whether it's meters or because it makes it how you would feel about the height you're at. Anyway, like I say, I'm just an old K60R pilot who's sort of enjoying having some of this technology on board but doesn't really understand how to work with it. And I do think, when as I look at it, all this stuff that they've got nowadays to actually allow them to go further and faster and more accurately, it's fine as far as it goes. But there's a real satisfaction from just flying by the seat of your pants, I think, just trying to sort of wherever I feel. And especially with things like MacCready. MacCready's a funny thing, isn't it? Because, it gives you a speed to fly, but it can't substitute for your eyes and your brain when you look at the sky ahead and have to make decisions about the changing sky, so that, what you have been getting behind you may not look like anything like you're going to get before you. So you've got to at least, either reset your MacCready or just use the Mark 1 brain and change your whole attitude. And I've heard of more than one occasion where a pilot's done well on task because they stayed in a cloud that was below their MacCready level, because as they were circling under this cloud, they looked around them and out to the direction they had to go, and the sky didn't look very good. So they decided to stay under the cloud and just take it higher while they kept scanning in the direction they would be setting off in, and gave themselves more time to spot what might be the next cloud forming or the best energy line to go for. So I don't think it's always a great idea to be obsessed with, if it doesn't meet my MacCready targets, I'm moving on. That's great as an idea, and you should always keep it at the back of your mind. But, and some of us, like me, are not out to be winners in competitions. We quite like seeing how well we can get around a task and not dicking around too much unless we choose to. But ultimately, we just enjoy being up there and flying, and the whole thing. Now, I mustn't waffle too much. We've got a fair bit of attention here. I'm assuming I'm above final glide. But I don't know that I am. That's Northampton coming up over the nose, all that kind of towny-looking stuff. We've got a good cloud or two in between us and them. And since I don't really quite know, and nothing's telling me for certain that I'm on final glide. In any case, it's down to 150 now because I'm burning it off with the speed I'm going at. No, don't start slowing up under things. It's not necessary. Stick to your plan and move on. And just let it improve your arrival height. Yeah, I think that must be the arrival height, to be honest. Is that ETE? Is that basically saying I've got 12 minutes to go or something? I don't know. I think we will take a climb before we get there, because I'm just not quite sure about the arrival height. Although, looking ahead and remembering doing the flight yesterday, I must admit the angle for a glider like this to the far side of Northampton does look as though I would get there. But then again, I suppose there are the rules about how low you can be going over towns as well, so for as much as I can still remember them, it's perhaps not a bad idea to try and remember the real world rules about Mustn't be below 1,500 feet, is it? Within 2,000 feet of a town or something? Something like that. So long ago, I've completely forgotten. But either way, you don't want to cause an embarrassment, do you? Because when you think about it, those figures were probably written more when gliders didn't have the kind of LD ratios that they do now, where they could easily glide from a much lower height and get clear of a town. But don't know why this lift is here, and it's not. I'm going to take anyway. I'm going to go into this dark stuff, and if there's something good under here, I'll grab it. And if not, I think, yeah, I might just risk it and carry on to the end of the task and hope I don't completely cock it up. But no, let's hope we find some lift. I'd like a little bit more height, really. Oh, let's take this. I have no idea what it is. I'm going to take it anyway because I don't get centered. Weird. It really was meant of that big dark cloud, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't turn your nose up at something good like this when it's here, no matter how much you wonder why it's here. No cloud above us, but let's see whether a cloud appears. I don't believe it can be associated with that cloud, can it? Well, I suppose we are slightly to the east of it, maybe. Anyway, whatever it is, I'm taking it. And the light easterly wind is blowing us west on track, so I suppose there's that, but not that it's much. I've not been particularly diligent about getting the best out of this climb ever, and I really should, because it'd be nice to sort of see how fast we can do the task, really. But although I've not been totally preoccupied with that, or I might have taken bigger risks, but I reckon that must be 400 meters above finish point, so I think we're going to finish this turn and then whack off at speed. Right, let's go. If anybody can spot an airfield, well, fine. I can't immediately spot one. Come on, get more speed on. Burn it off, eh? Burn it off. And don't forget, that's nautical miles, not kilometres. So a little way to go yet, so don't get too cocky. Is that the little, yeah, that's the cheesy bit starting to appear at the top of the map. Can you see just where it says the 269 sort of heading figures and things? It's there, yeah. Yeah, try and stay on heading, try and watch your airspeed, mucking around with the display. Don't see any sign of an airfield. No. 2 minutes to end of task, the Alex says. I suppose, of course, it says I'm about 1,000 feet above my destination height, but that would put my destination height at about 1,300 feet. We wouldn't have been that low over Northampton, I don't think. So, in a way, I'm being a bit unrealistic here, aren't I? Pushing on at this speed, but never mind. We're just trying to do the route, you know, for old time's sake. And I can't remember very much about the details, actually, except what I said earlier, which is that we were pleased to get right back to this part of the world where the lift was good and we could get a good climb and cloud base was higher. And then we had to go back out east again, which gave us a kind of a dread feeling, really, a very dread feeling. But still, I was just a passenger. I mean, Chris Gill was relying on him completely for everything, and he just got on with it, which is more than I probably would have done. I probably would have tried to head back to Husbars and said, no, that's enough for me. Pretty grim. I can't tell you how grim it looked. And at that time of day as well, and the sky is going to be starting to get weaker very quickly. Right, so no sign of an airfield, but plenty of fields to choose from, so we'll just put it down on a field, shall we, once we've got past the... yeah, I can't see any evidence of an airfield. And I don't suppose this map would tell me very much, would it? No, it doesn't seem to tell me anything, does it? Strange. No great indicators of an airfield. There you go. Right, so let's zoom in on the map here on the piece of cheese. Is that the zoom in button? No. That's the zoom in button, isn't it? Yeah, okay. For all I know, we might have arrived over Northampton at about 2,000 feet. That's not impossible. Although I have a feeling we took a climb coming into Northampton, so we arrived at Northampton quite high actually. But you know, it's as long as it is short. We're not carrying on from here on this task. So, no, can't see anything remotely like an airfield. We can have fun. No, do you know, I don't want to make this video any longer than it needs to be. And so we're going to have fun taking a climb back up to cloud base to see what cloud base is here, and then gliding on until we sort of found an airfield, just for the fun of it. But I don't think I feel finished. Okay, so that's the task finished. That's good. So I think now let's just pick a field and fly more or less west. So. Where did I find last time? There was one I found that was rather small. I think I've got it. Under the starboard wing tip is a wooden copse of wood, and then to the west of it are two fields, one a bit greener than the other. And I'm going to go into the one that's nearer the buildings that are beyond that field. So right, so here we go. So let's just, where are we? Okay, this height, let's go straight into it. So let's bring the speed back. Obviously we're good and high. Get the wheel down for extra drag because we don't need that. We'll open the air brakes to full, and let's see if we can just judge an angle from here. This will be fun, won't it? So judge the changing of the angle, see if we can go straight in. It's not a hugely large field, but it should be easily big enough, I think. I always close up the brakes things, of course, so we'll hold it not too far off. Yesterday I did a cracking job. I think it was this field I went into. Might have been one even smaller, I can't remember, but I managed to do all of this and then from some height, and then just cross it just over the boundary and just flare it out and bring it in short. And it's very satisfying. I love to practice this kind of thing. Okay, and the speed, we're trimmed okay with the speed. There's no wind today, so you know, don't have to be much over 50 knots really. Always close the brakes if we need to, but I don't want to be in too close, that's the main thing. We are undershooting a bit probably at the moment, but let's just see how we go. Need to keep a bit of energy on, it shouldn't matter too much. And the nearer to the farmhouse we are, let's close the brakes a bit. Nearer to the farmhouse we are, then the shorter the walk to use their telephone. Close the brakes a bit more just at the moment. There we go, the brakes now. Come over the boundary fence. The brakes touch more. Bring it down, slight bounce. And on with the brake, and that's fine, and we're done. And that, as they say, is that. And yeah, the sky is ridiculously good looking, isn't it? And I think this is one of the nicest skies I've flown in anything in, really, which couldn't be further from the truth of the real day. Anyway, that's section 2 of this Day from Hell done. Very unlike a Day from Hell section. I thoroughly enjoyed that, actually. I hope it wasn't too boring for you. I usually manage to waffle my way through a whole flight. Oh, it says flight will finish in 5 seconds. What on earth's that all about? Okay, so let's wait and see what it gets to 0 seconds. Flight will finish. So it's finished. Fair enough. It needed to anyway. Right, okay. See you on the next one, and bye for now.